Anyway, I am Nanda and today we are going to start up a new topic from the same chapter of biology, that is fundamental units of life. Okay, today's topics are divided into three, that is movements of molecules across the cell, then we have animals in different solutions and plant cells in different solution. Okay, firstly we will be starting with the movements of molecules across the cell. Okay, movements of molecules is being classified into three, that is diffusion, osmosis and active transport. Diffusion, osmosis and active transport. So the term diffusion is very familiar to you. We have discussed in the first chapter of chemistry, that is matter around us, right? Okay, in this chapter we'll be just looking on to diffusion and osmosis, and we do not need active transport. Now what do you mean by diffusion? Now we just discussed what is diffusion. Okay, diffusion means the spontaneous movement of molecules from higher concentration to lower concentration. So the spontaneous movement of molecules from higher concentration to lower concentration. Okay, a spontaneous movement of molecules from higher concentration to lower concentration is known as diffusion. Okay, this diffusion is very essential for gaseous exchange. This diffusion is very essential for gaseous exchange. Okay, substances like CO2 that is carbon dioxide, oxygen that is O2, these all things move across the cell membrane by using this method known as diffusion. Which method? Diffusion. Okay. Now, this diffusion we have learned in chemistry, right? And we have discussed an example too, right? Whenever we spray a perfume molecule in a one particular space, then that particular space has the perfume molecules and that has higher concentration, and then after a little bit or after a while, these molecules will spread and reaches towards some person standing at a distance, and it reaches towards him and he gets the smell. So the higher concentration where the perfume molecules is very dense, the higher concentration to the lower concentration is known as diffusion. Okay, clear? Now, next we will be looking osmosis. What do you mean by osmosis? Osmosis means the movement of water molecules from higher concentration to lower concentration by using a semi-permeable membrane. What do you mean by semi-permeable membrane? We have discussed in the last class, right? What is semi-permeable membrane? Materials which allow some substance to pass through them. Only some substance. It will allow only some substance to pass through them. That is known as semi-permeable membrane. And this osmosis require the semi-permeable membrane, and this will be only working in water molecules. Okay, now let's look a small example. Okay, here we have a tub and we have placed a semi-permeable membrane in between the tub, middle of the tub, and we have just in one side we have the H2O. Can you see the H2O? That is the water. And in the other side we have the salt solution, that is the NaCl solution. The chemical name of salt is NaCl, and if it is add to a solution, it is known as the NaCl solution. So here we have a tub, then we have divided it with a semi-permeable membrane, and then we have the H2O, that is the water. Then we have the salt solution, that is the NaCl solution, and both of them are at equal. They are equal. Okay, both of them are equal. Okay, can you see here? Yeah. So can you help me find out how this osmosis occur? Can you find out? Can you help me? To find out how this osmosis occur, we have to find where the higher concentration and lower concentration is. Right? You all know osmosis means from higher concentration to lower concentration, right? The movement of water molecules from high concentration to lower concentration with the help of semi-permeable membrane. So where could be the higher concentration be? The higher concentration will be on H2O molecules. Why? Because the H2O contain only H2O molecules. And what in the case of NaCl? The NaCl have salt as well as the water. So it has lower concentration. Now what happens here? Here the H2O, that is which has the higher concentration, moves to the NaCl solution which has lower concentration. As you all know, osmosis means higher concentration to lower concentration, right? Okay. Now what happens here? The level of the H2O decreases and the NaCl increases. Okay. The NaCl increases. Can you see here? Okay, this is a simple example for osmosis, and osmosis means the movement of water molecules from higher concentration to lower concentration by using a semi-permeable membrane. Now, what do you mean by active transport? It's not among our syllabus. Why? We can just discuss. Active transport means lower concentration to higher concentration by using energy is known as active transport. Okay. Well, we have discussed diffusion, then osmosis, and also active transport. These are the movement of molecules across the cell. Now let's look animal cells in different solutions. Okay. In this, let us look through an example. Okay, here we have taken 3 tubs, name it as A, B and C, and let's take tub B. Okay, this tub B contains solution, and this solution, and we just put a cell, animal cell in it, and what happens here? Here in B we have the same concentration in solution and cell. Same concentration in solution and cell. So what happens here? There will be no changes, no movements are there, no concentration gradient. So this is known as the isotonic solution. This is known as the isotonic solution. And what do you mean by iso? Or what do you mean by isotonic? Iso means equal and tonic means concentration. So what do you mean by isotonic? Equal concentration. Okay, in tub B we have equal amount of concentration. And what in the case of A? A, here take solution, then put a cell in it. But the case is the solution has very high amount of NaCl. Very high amount of NaCl as compared to the cell. Okay. So what happens here? Where is higher concentration? Higher concentration is in the cell. So the water or the H2O from the cell will move to the solution, and when the molecules from the cell is moved outward or moved to the solution, what happens? The cell will shrink. Can you see here? The cell will shrink. Yeah. So this is known as hypertonic solution. What do you mean by hypertonic solution? Hyper means high and tonic means concentration. So hypertonic means high concentration. And the last is the tub C, and the same, just add solution and put a cell in it, animal cell in it. And here the case is little bit different. The solution has very less NaCl, very less amount of NaCl as compared to the cell. For example, if the cell is of 9 to 10 something NaCl, then the solution will be having 2 to 3. Okay. Well, here what happens? Where is higher concentration? The higher concentration is in the solution. So the solution will, the molecules in the solution will move to the cell, and the cell will become bigger and bigger, and that pressure is known as the plasma membrane applies pressure and it becomes bigger, right? And that pressure is known as turgid pressure, and that cell is known as turgid cell. Okay. And this solution, or this is known as hypotonic solution. What do you mean by hypotonic? Hypo means less and tonic means solution. So concentration. So hypotonic means less concentration of solution. Okay. So we have discussed animal cells in 3 different solutions, that is hypertonic, isotonic and hypotonic. Then this hypertonic, the pressure which allows the cell to shrink is known as the, or that cell, the shrinked cell is known as the flaccid cells. Flaccid cells. Can you see? Flaccid cells. Okay. This is all I have to say about hyper, iso and hypotonic solutions, and this is about the animal cells. Now let's look plant cells in 3 different solutions. So same as, take 3 tubs, name it as A, B and C. Then in A we have the hypotonic, which have high amount of NaCl. Then just keep the plant cell in it. What happens here? The cell wall do not shrink. The plasma, only the plasma membrane or the cell membrane shrinks. Okay. The molecules from the plasma membrane moves to the solution and the plasma membrane shrinks. And that is known as hypertonic, or even it is known as plasmolysis. And what happens in the tub B? It is isotonic. There will be no changes, no concentration gradient, no movement. So it is known as isotonic. And what happens in C? In C, it is hypotonic. The NaCl solution is in the solution the NaCl is very low, so that the cell will become bigger, right? But here we have this cell wall. So whenever the molecules enters the cell, the plasma membrane will apply pressure known as turgid pressure, but in the same time the cell wall also apply pressure, and that pressure is known as wall pressure, and both the pressure meets and it will not allow any changes is known as hypotonic. And here plant cells, the hypotonic will shrink, the cell will, plasma membrane shrinks, and isotonic no changes, hypotonic no changes. So hope you understood this. That's all about today's topic. We have covered till plant cells in different solution. So let us just summarize. Let us just go around it and look. We have studied diffusion, movement of molecules across the cell, and the first one is diffusion. Diffusion means the spontaneous movement of molecules from higher concentration to lower concentration is known as diffusion. Okay. Now we have studied osmosis. Osmosis means the movement of water molecules from higher concentration to lower concentration is known as osmosis, and this osmosis needs semi-permeable membrane. And active transport, it is not among our syllabus, but active transport means lower concentration to higher concentration by using some energy. Okay, that's all about movement of molecules across the cell. Now let's look animal cells in different solution. We have studied hypertonic, hypotonic and isotonic, as well as in the plant cells we have studied hypertonic, hypotonic and isotonic. So that's all I have to say about. So thank you guys for listening. That's all about this topic. Hope you understood this. Thank you for your attention. This is Nanda signing off. Bye. Thank you.